Hey everyone, Sleepy Reader here. For some of my subscribers who maybe are starting to think I overindulge in how many comics and trades I get, this video won't help. I've got a bunch of hardbacks to show you and a bit of a complaint about DC Comics and their hardbacks. To start, let's see. I got this Challengers of the Unknown, which collects sort of classic Kirby run from the late 50s or very, very early 60s, before the Fantastic Four of the Challengers of the Unknown. And I knew that DC prints these on this. I don't know if you can see how yellow the paper is already, maybe from just sitting in the warehouse. It's basically newsprint, maybe just slightly smoother than the newsprint of the old comics, or maybe not. Maybe you can compare the whiteness. I don't know if you can, there's too many shadows in this video. If you can see the difference between the whiteness of a very white page on a better published book and the sort of slightly yellowness of this book that I've just unwrapped. So I knew that that was a problem with their Kirby books. So I have not been buying these trades of DC's reprints of classic Kirby work. However, it was like 60% off, and I thought, what the heck? I'm probably never going to get the original issues. I'll just get this. So I think it came to about $11.50 or something. But buyer beware, because even at that price, it has another problem besides the cheap paper. It has incredible gutter loss. I don't know if you can see there, but there's literally part of the panels that you cannot access, you cannot see at all. I guess if you really pull it, you can read all the text, but there's some pages, I wish I could find them now, where part of the panels is really, really lost in the gutter. I mean, this to me is almost criminal publishing, because if they designed their book properly, even with this cheap glued binding, which I don't think you really should ever do with a hardback, especially, just spend the extra 25 or 50 cents a book to make this look better, or to make this work better. But even if you discount that and say you're going to work with this very tight glued binding, when you put the book together, you adjust the pages over 1/8 of an inch so that you won't get any of this severe gutter loss. So there's just no effort, no thought put into this. If you were paying full price for this is a $40 hardback book. When you combine that with the very cheap paper compared to almost any other hardback graphic novel, and then the gutter loss, I guess I still, if I spent $11 or $12 on this, maybe it's okay. I'm going to have to check exactly what I spent on this. But only when you're totally desperate get these kind of DC books. I don't think all DC hardbacks are nearly this bad. For whatever reason, for when they're reprinting Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and a few other classic artists in hardback, they decide to put them on cheap paper. Maybe all of them have this gutter loss problem, maybe only this one, I don't know. With this cheap glued binding, you're gonna have some gutter loss, but you can certainly adjust in your layout program, InDesign or whatever they use when they put these together to make it work better. So anyway, that's that. And then I got Multiversity, which is on far nicer paper. It's the collection of the recent Grant Morrison series of one-shots or seeming one-shots that tell one story or kind of tell one story. There's no severe gutter loss here, if I found a 2-page spread, there is some loss. You can see it there. So it's not as bad as the Challenges on the Unknown. It's a much larger book. I got my camera set up in a way that you can't see it. I apologize. I have trouble setting up a good shoot for this kind of video. So it's a larger book than the Kirby one. It's on nicer paper. There's more pages. I think it might cost $10 more if you were paying full sticker price. So it would be nice if the binding were a little looser. It doesn't look to be as cheap a binding as the other one, but and it's on really nice paper. So where the gutter loss is really noticeable, if I can find it, is in the map of the multiverse near the center of the book. No, it's not there. Huh, where is that map? Here it is. My daughter was looking at it. She couldn't find things in there. And what they've done to kind of make up for that is the inside of the dust jacket has the same map. There you can see the whole thing. So at least they were thinking about that a little bit. Here's what it looks like without the dust jacket on. So it's mostly a nice book, probably worth the money, but you do wish they put a little more, just a little more money in the binding still to alleviate the gutter loss. And then another DC book I got, this one's called Graphic Ink, the DC Comics Art of Darwyn Cooke. It too is mostly a beautiful book. It's even a little bit bigger, again, than the Multiversity. So I think the Kirby one is just comic book size, and then we get a bigger as we go along with each of these comics. So it's nice. It features full stories by Darwyn Cooke, plus a lot of covers and I think just a short essay at the beginning. So you get a lot of Darwyn Cooke goodness, a lot of more obscure things that might be harder to find in really nice, big size, really nice paper. The gutters look pretty good there. Certainly they've, I'm sorry, I thought you could see what I was saying. Certainly they have left plenty of room in the gutter for pages like this, where there are panels and it doesn't spread across pages. I'm trying to see if anywhere Cooke does a double page spread. So I probably would have been totally happy with this book and not questioned its quality, even though again it has the very tight binding there. Excuse me, I'm going to take the dust jacket off. Oh, and here's what it looks like without the dust jacket on. So I love it when they have a different picture embossed on the cover than in the dust jacket. But at the back of the book, Darwyn Cooke did all these beautiful landscape covers for kind of a Darwyn Cooke variant month recently, and they include all the covers. And there you experience severe gutter loss. And it's not just gutters here. I mean, it's the full, you get these poster-like pages, each one of which is ruined because it's missing like a half an inch in the center of the picture, maybe even more than a half an inch. And some of them it's much more noticeable than others. Like here, we're missing part of Robin's arms. So I don't understand what they were thinking. Surely they're professional book designers. A lot of money and effort is put into making this book. They should have thought of that. Perhaps if they had put these right at the center of the book, there would have been a lot less gutter loss and it would have looked a lot nicer. Perhaps they should not have done these pictures, or they should have just done them sideways. It wouldn't have been as big, but it's just a waste of pages in a sense, because you just feel frustrated. Look at that one of Supergirl. you actually lose part of Supergirl in the gutter and the horse comet. So it just frustrates the heck out of me. I'm still really glad I got this book because I kind of come to Darwyn Cooke later. I have not read most of these shorter works of his and these one and dones by him. So I'm really excited to have them in this really deluxe edition. So there's that. And then, and I want to say, like, I got this out of the library. This is from 2000 AD, a very small publisher based in Britain. And they got these nice hardbacks of Zenith by Grant Morrison. And they're in black and white. But look how they fold out. You can do this kind of binding, and it must not be prohibitively expensive, or someone like 2000 AD would not be able to do it. When DC is going to do something as deluxe as that Darwyn Cooke book, they should at least spend the extra money on the binding. Okay, so I also got, along with those three DC hardbacks, I got this Spirits of the Dead by Richard Corbin, which is double dipping. These are all of his Edgar Allan Poe stories from Dark Horse. And I think that I got all these issues, but I just wanted to have them in hardback. Some of this doesn't look entirely familiar. There might be one or two bits that I did not get before. The binding is a bit tight here, but nothing goes right into the gutter, and there are no double page spreads. It's all the more old-fashioned traditional paneling, so we don't get any loss here. So I'm pretty happy with that. They do not do a dust jacket, they just do a direct printing directly on the cover, which is what I like anyway. So I'm very happy with that purchase. And then another interesting purchase is the Marvel. I'm having to reach way around the camera. I'm such a professional. Aren't you glad that you are paying so much money for these videos? I got the Marvel Legacy of Jack Kirby. It's a hardback in a slip cover. So it comes out, and the slip case feels pretty sturdy. Pretty sturdy. And I actually kind of love these kind of blown up Kirby images that they put on the actual board cover of the book. So that, I guess that's one image, one blown up image there. Let's adjust the camera again. Maybe I should just hold it in my hand. So that's the cover. And this has really nice binding. It lays flat. If they wanted to do an image across the whole there, you'd get a little bit of a hill, but you would see the entirety of the image. But it's also an extra wide book, if you can see here. So they can fit almost full-size cover, 2 almost full-size page reproductions per page. Let's see how it compares to sort of regular comic book size. Yeah, it's a little bit smaller. So you get all these nice cover reproductions, and when they need to, they can give you a full page that's pretty close to a double page spread. So I'm quite happy with the quality of this book, and it's on beautiful paper. It's got a good binding, and I understand the way you can tell if you have a good binding is the more space there is there between that piece of the binding and then the cover, the more flexibility it has, and probably the more expensive that binding was. So they don't take as much advantage of these wide pages as you might expect. There aren't as many full page or double page spreads featured here. There are some, but not quite as many as you might have thought they would do. So that's just being picky, because it is a beautiful book, and it does. There's some double page spreads here. My only real complaint is I would have liked an even longer book with an even deeper look into all of Kirby's amazing artwork. Of course, the bulk of it is the 60s Marvel work, which makes sense because that's the most influential. But there's just a little bit of his monster work, and I feel like there could have been a lot more there to show. I think there could have been more of his return to Marvel in the 70s. And yeah, there's a few covers from the Monster days. So I would have liked to have seen more blown up panels, just more pages. I believe this had a ticket price of $50. Yep. $49.99, but so I can't say it's not worth that amount of money, and I got it at In Stock Trades. Here's some of the stuff from the early days. So it's a very pleasing book. If you're a Kirby fan, a Kirby Marvel fan, and you have the money for a really nice coffee table book, this is a really nice coffee table book. And I'm sure I will be paging through it many, many times. It has a bunch of short essays by different artists and writers scattered throughout. Let me look at the table of contents for that. There is a Joe Quesada introduction. There's a piece by Mark Bagley, a piece by Alan Weiss, Ryan Stegman, Michael Allred, Ramon Perez, Steve Rude, Dan Jurgens, Carl Kessel, Keith Geffen, Sal Buscema, Terry Austin, Nick Bradshaw, Claus Jansen, Rick Remender, Tom Scioli, Rich Buckler, and Andy Lanning. So that's a really good selection of people to give a little bit of commentary on Kirby. Many of those people were Kirby imitators, direct Kirby imitators, and others all, of course, influenced by his work. So, overall, I think my biggest unhappiness is with the this DC Kirby book, the Challengers of the Unknown. A little touch, a wish for a little bit better binding on Multiversity, but it's still a really nice book. And again, the Darwyn Cooke is very nice until you look at those double page spreads, and then it just seems like they were a little bit idiotic to either even put them in there or to arrange them this way. Just makes no sense to me. Okay, talk to you all later. Happy comic book reading.